research project in the desert of the southwestern United States. My job would have tickled Aesop. Every morning before dawn, I hiked alone over the sandstone to a designated spot. There I waited until the ground warmed and the tortoise I'd been assigned to watch dragged herself out of her burrow, blinking with what looked like weary exasperation. I spent the next few hours hovering at a distance, sneaking sips of water as I took notes on when and what the tortoise ate. When the day grew hot and the tortoise finally retreated into the shade, I stumbled back across the burning sand, fighting the feeling that, once again, I had somehow lost the race. Desert tortoises were, and are, protected as a threatened species under the U.S. Endangered Species Act, and my weird, dreamy job was surrounded by bitter and sometimes violent arguments over their future. What struck me was how deep these arguments ran. While people fought over how to give sanctuary to tortoises, which construction projects or public land grazing leases to curtail, which off-road vehicle tracks to close, they were also fighting about why, and even whether they should be expected to protect tortoises at all. In the red rock canyons that once sheltered the ancestral Puebloans, in meeting rooms and courtrooms, and small-town coffee shops, people were arguing over nothing less than humanity's proper place on Earth. After I returned to college and finished my degree, I spent several more years as an itinerant biologist. I searched California streams for endangered frogs and counted wildfire-charred plants in the Sonoran Desert, working with people who poked rattlesnakes for fun and called flowers by their Latin and Greek names. I learned about other species and my own, and later, as a journalist, I started to write about the relationships between them. For more than 20 years, I've followed the arguments over the future of other species, and most of them sound familiar. We're still fighting over whether and why to provide sanctuary, and still waiting too long to figure out how. This stuckness has a lot to do with money and politics, of course, but it also has a lot to do with history and how we see, and don't see, that history today. After all, it wasn't so long ago that many people in North America and Europe thought they understood their relationships with other animals and with the groups of organisms called species. The Bible said that God granted humans dominion over the fish of the sea, the fowl of the air, and every living thing that moved upon the earth, and that more or less settled it, despite Aesop's rude reminders that the fish and fowl occasionally won. In the middle of the 19th century, these complacent humans learned that they were both less exceptional and more powerful than they had believed. From Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, they learned that their ties to other animals were far closer than previously thought. They also came to realize that their rapidly industrializing and global societies could drive species into extinction, and in fact had already done so, first on remote ocean islands and then much closer to home. The most powerful and powerfully destructive civilizations on Earth are still absorbing this double shock. No matter our creed or culture, most of us would agree that the animals we domesticate for companionship, labor, and sustenance shouldn't be abused, though our definitions of abuse may vary widely. Less clear are our responsibilities toward animals hunted for food and sport, and even murkier are those towards animals who are annoying, dangerous, or allegedly useless. The understanding that humans are capable of exterminating entire groups of organisms raised a new question. Why should any of us make sacrifices, even in the short term, to ensure the persistence of other species on the planet? Until very recently, Western philosophers and religious scholars paid little attention to such questions, and many scientists shied away from them. Laws that try to answer them often raise more dilemmas than they settle. And Aesop, well, Aesop would probably laugh.